Figured I'd do a video while I sit here in the door. And yes, I am in my driver's seat, and I will prove to you that I'm not driving, so nobody can say that, oh, he was driving. Sitting in the dock, as you can see, sitting in the dock. Truck's not even turned on. Ooh, it's a little dusty though. All right. There we go. So I'm going to go over in this video frustration from my first week here at Swift. Yes, already a frustration. So dramatic, Aaron. I'm sure some of y'all will probably say. Frustration, go over the miles I got. I have a potential pay stub. They won't be there completely until finished until Friday. So yeah. Swift does things a little differently. Again, in my first video, I said they made it in the lease contract very aware that you are a independent contractor. You are not an employee of Swift Transportation. You are a contractor to Swift Transportation, even though you're pulling Swift's trailers and you're obviously, for me, I'm leasing a truck from Swift. With that being said, you are still a independent contractor, and like my first video, the gentleman commented going, you are independent contractor, Swift gives you the bare minimum and you have to figure it out from there. And that is true. I mean, there's no buttering it up or anything else. Now, at least for me in my experience, that's how it was. So yeah, a lot of expenses coming out as you come on. They literally give you the bare minimum, like the gentleman was saying in my comment in my first video, coming on with Swift. I got some wheel chocks from them for free, and I have my chains that I got for free from them, which that is different from RTI. RTI, even as a company driver with RTI, you had to pay to get chains. Now, if you return the chains, then you get your money back. So, then I understand why RTI did that. I'm sure they had a whole bunch of drivers stealing their chains, and it's a costly thing. So, here at Swift, they gave me in my truck 4 bags of chains. Make sure I was obviously legal. Gave me a couple of wheel chocks. Gave me my triangles. You know, the normal, just to get me started. Now, with that being said, I had to obviously cover everything else. With you coming on, as if you decide to come on with Swift, you will have to do the same thing. You'll have to get your oil. You'll have to get your windshield washer fluid. You'll have to get your coolants. You'll have to get all that stuff that you need, which is fine. I mean, you are technically a independent contractor. You sign a lease to come on with Swift, and wanting to have the independence, there you go. So I have nothing to really complain about there. My only complaint is obviously not really being told how to run their program. Thankfully, I'm pretty tech savvy and I'm able to pick it up pretty quickly, but I'm sure there are going to be drivers that aren't as tech savvy and who are going to lease on and come on and get extremely frustrated because they don't really cover on how to run their system. Swift has their own app. They have their ELD. Thankfully for me, it's the same ELD that RTI ran, so I already knew all about it. So yeah, I've been learning all that. I've also learned that my driver manager that I have, she's really just somebody to be the go-between. She's not really much other than that. I mean, I can go to her and ask her questions. For my experience, though, I've only dealt with her a couple of times. I've been dealing with everybody else in my terminal, my home terminal that they based me out of. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing that I can't really get a hold of my driver manager, that I'm dealing with everybody else that's in the terminal. But I guess time will tell on that one. So, but yeah, like I said, to go into my biggest gripe, I guess, my biggest issue that I have, like I said in the beginning of this video, saying I brought up the Swift has their own app. The app is fine. It's the loaded and empty calls and all that other crap. Now, I don't know if it's the system issue or if it's a them issue, their parameters issue that they have in their app. But I had a load. This load actually I'm delivering right now. I was literally sitting on the customer's property and said, "Hey, I arrived." And it sat there and told me, "Oh, you're not within range of the customer." I'm literally sitting on their property. I'm in range. And then I went to go put in the loaded call, and it says, "Oh, we can't send the loaded call because you're not within range." Seriously? I'm literally sitting on the customer's property, and you won't take my arrival call and you won't take my loaded call? So that's frustrating for me because it's not the first time. I went to go drop off a trailer in the terminal they have there in West Valley City, Utah, and it refused to allow me to drop it, even though they had it all set up for me to drop. I had to call in and tell them, "Hey, I'm dropping this." So there's that. So there's that frustration. And then with the app, they have a freight box portion of the app to help drivers like me find an empty trailer. Well, supposedly empty trailer. Now, I'm sure you all have seen the night transportation trailers. You've seen the Swift trailers that have the big old symbol and says freight box on the side of it. That is connected to their app, to where drivers like me can go onto the app and search for an empty trailer instead of having to call in, which I think that's pretty cool. Don't get me wrong. I think that's pretty awesome that I don't have to call in and wait for a driver manager or wait from somebody in the office to tell me, "Oh, hey, this is where an empty is." I can just go on, click on that app, click search for trailers. It looks within a 50-mile radius. I can change the mile radius if I want. I don't want to drive more than 50 miles to find an empty, so I'm not going to go more than 50 miles. So 50 miles, put search for trailer, bam, it pops up a whole bunch of trailers that are in your area, if there is any, that are empty. Now, I learned the hard way with that, though, as well. So when you find an empty trailer, if you find an empty trailer on that, you ask it to send you to where it is. Double, triple, quadruple check that freaking trailer is actually empty, because it sent me to a Safeway DC, and it said there was 5 empty trailers, and the one that I had asked for it to reserve for me, backed into it, hooked my lines. Thankfully, I didn't raise the landing gear yet, but I walked around the trailer, and guess what? The trailer was loaded with cardboard. A little annoying. So then I went one by one to find what these 5 trailers that they had. Only 2 of them were actually empty. So double, triple, quadruple check that you were actually hooking up to an empty trailer, because that would really suck if you grabbed onto a loaded trailer, didn't check, and you drove off to go get a load, and then realize, oh fuck, and excuse my language, but I have a loaded trailer. So that was pretty cool, though, that they have that feature. I personally like that feature. Now, don't get me wrong, the system does have its issues too. There's multiple spots where I went to where it said there was empty trailers, and there was not any empty trailers, either because they were loaded or other drivers before me came and picked them up, and the system just never took them out. So, I mean, there's glitches, obviously, but it is what it is. So those are my two biggest frustrations this week. I guess I mean, I'm not too happy with the miles I got. I mean, I got a little over 2,000 miles, but they didn't take out my truck payment for the first 2 weeks. Swift does not. And I'm sitting there going, out of 2,000 miles, because they didn't take out my truck payment. After, when they start doing it, if I'm only making 2,000 miles a week, I'm only going to be bringing home $300 a week. And that's after all the expenses are done and the truck payment's coming out. And not a big fan of that. Thankfully, they're not taking out the truck payment off of this first week, so I'm getting a little over $1,100. But yeah. So when they tell you an average of miles when you get a truck, I'm sure when they told me my average, it was because at that time I was planning on getting into a MRP program truck. Now, Swift does have 2 different programs for a truck, and I might cover a little bit of that. I don't know yet. I know Trucking with Fly Rabbit here on YouTube, he covers a lot of that. Great guy. He's kind of one of the reasons why I decided to come on the Swift. Watching his videos and everything else. I don't know him personally, but he's kind of helped me decide to come on. Besides the fact that I originally started my career here at Swift, so I kind of already knew what the company was about. I also drove for Knight Transportation for many years, so I knew what Knight was about. And I knew when the merger happened between Knight and Swift that Swift took on a lot of Knight's policies. And I had no issues over at Knight Transportation. So, yeah. Big difference for me between RTI and here at Swift is Swift has their ComData card. RTI uses a ComData card too for your fueling purchase, but RTI has it locked to where you can only use Pilot, Flying J, Loves, the actual Flying J, Pilots, and Loves and stuff like that. Whereas over here, my card's wide open. I can go anywhere that ComData is accepted. I've been taking very much advantage of that and seeing how I've been out here on the West Coast. The 1.9 fuel stops that are owned by Flying J. I went to Mr. Gas there in Jerome, Idaho. That is a Roadies truck stop. Got really good diesel there. Excuse me, it's not gas, it's diesel. And I've been told that you can go the Maverick too. So can't really complain about that. That's a huge difference. So I've been having to pay less in my fuel prices since coming over here. So yeah. Overall though, first week wasn't too bad, I guess. I did have a little misunderstanding with my second load. I went from Phoenix up to West Valley City and then ate the miles to go home to be able to get all my crap for my truck. It was either that or I don't get my crap. So I told him, hey, I'd rather eat the miles. Ended up getting a load, told him, hey, I'd be ready by 7:15 the next day. They gave me a load that had to be picked up at 6:30. Seeing how I told them I wasn't going to be in the truck until 7:15, I didn't go get it back in the truck till 7:15. Got a call from the weekend dispatcher. He was a little irritated. that obviously I wasn't communicating. He's like, you need to communicate, you need to blah, 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 blah. So, had that little hiccup. Showed up with the customer though, still. Customer didn't care. Customer actually recognized me from when I drove for night transportation, so they really didn't care. They knew I was going to get the load done. I mean, I'm sure they did care, but he was telling me he didn't care. Got loaded really quick and still made it on time for the delivery. So, can't really complain. With that being said, I've been doing nothing but back and forth, which is fine. I mean, that means I've been able to get home. So, I'm hoping that my miles will continue going up. I very much have realized, obviously, once that truck payment starts coming out, my bare minimum to, like I said, to be in the positive is at least 2,000 miles. And that means that I got a brand new, that's because I got a brand new truck. Now, my brand new truck is awesome, don't get me wrong, but obviously now my average of my miles just to make profit in my own pocket has gone up. So I need to do a lot more miles than I would have if I went with a MRP truck, which is their maintenance repair program. Like I said, I might do a video later on from what I know of the difference between the two programs. So, and then obviously I'm probably going to do a video of everything that they require for payments on the truck and whatnot. They have a lot of optional stuff, which is crazy, but they do. I mean, they have the bare minimum, but they have a lot of optional stuff. They have stuff that's I paid for over at RTI that I'm not paying for here. So I think that my next video after this one will probably be, or my next videos, I don't know. We'll see. I don't plan on going anywhere unless I'm not making any money. I don't plan on going anywhere. So I love my truck. Brand, like I said, brand spanking new 2026 KW. They had a special going. I put $500 down. I got into the truck. So it literally had 35 miles on it. So I can't complain. Now with that being said, obviously my truck payment is only like $680, $690, but for the next 22 weeks, there's also another $100 charge on top of that. So technically for the next 22 weeks, my truck payment is $780, $790. And that's because of they are finishing off the performance escrow / down payment on the truck. So, which is fine. It is what it is. They tell you all about it before you sign the contract, so you get to know everything that's going to be coming out. So, for me, I didn't do it under my name. I did it under my LLC, the Evans Transport. So, they give you that option if you have an EIN and your own LLC. They can sign the contract with your company, not with you personally. So, that's pretty cool. I mean, I feel like I'm just rambling on now. So, yeah, I'm going to eventually figure out how to make it to where I can show, like I did with RTI. I don't know if they're going to send out in an email my pay settlements, or if I'm just going to have to continue looking on the app they have, the owner-op app that they have for us owner-ops, to be able to see my pay settlements. If that's the way it goes, then I'm going to have to try to figure out a way to where I'm not showing too much personal info and trying to figure out where I can pull those and show you, because I'm going to do the same thing I did here as I did at RTI. I'm going to show you the good, the bad, the ugly, and all of it. So, yeah, that's about it for me. I mean, this week obviously some frustration with the app, which I'm hoping they will get figured out and get fixed. It's frustrating to be at a customer and you can't put in your loaded call because you're not at their exact pinpoint location that they put it in their system. So hopefully they get that fixed. Still learning how to run their system. I've learned also that I'm not really dealing with my driver manager. My driver manager is the go-between between me and the company, and that's basically it. I deal with the planners directly myself, or I have a load board that I can go on to and I can get a load that way. So yeah, hopefully we can be successful at this. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm hoping to be in this truck, like I said, for a while. Can't complain and beat getting a brand spanking new 2026 Kenworth T680. I mean, I probably could complain if I wanted to, but there's no point. I got a brand spanking new truck for really cheap, much less once the $100 22 weeks goes from what I was paying for that 2023 International over at RTI. So total cost obviously is much higher for this Kenworth than for that International, but it's priced at a good price. I could go to the dealership and get this truck for the same price as they're asking me to pay for it. I mean, yeah, they have theirs a little bit higher because they want to make some money for the truck. They want to make profit off of it. So, but they have a lot of successful owner ops over here. They have a lot of successful company drivers here. They seem to have a pretty successful situation going. I mean, you hook your boat to the biggest publicly owned company in the entire country, so that makes it nice. But with that being said, seeing how the guy started up his truck, I'm going to be done rambling on in this video. So I'm going to figure some things out, and I'm going to figure out how to show you guys my pay settlements somehow, some way. So stay tuned till the next video, guys. All right, bye.